The night I came out to my family, nobody said a word. Not one. No anger, no tears, no yelling. Just silence. It was the kind of silence that fills every corner of the room until it becomes unbearable. The kind that makes you want to disappear into your chair. The sound of forks scraping plates, the ticking clock on the wall, the hum of the refrigerator. That was it. And as I sat there, staring at my untouched food, my heart pounding so hard I could barely swallow, I thought to myself, this is it. This is what losing home sounds like. But I was wrong. That silence wasn't the end of love. It was the start of something far more complicated and far more real. Before that night, I thought I had my family figured out. We weren't the hug and cry kind of family. We were practical, predictable. We showed love in small, quiet ways, through food, through jokes, through never saying too much. Growing up, my mom was always in the kitchen, humming softly as she cooked. My dad was the steady one, calm, patient, always on time. My younger brother was the loud one, always teasing, always filling the room with sound. And then there was me, the quiet one, the listener, the good daughter. I didn't want to break that picture. I didn't want to be the reason my family had to pause mid-meal and ask, "What did you just say?" So I didn't say it. For years, I lived between versions of myself, the one everyone saw, and the one only I knew. I laughed at jokes I didn't find funny. I nodded along when people asked if I had a boyfriend, and every time I looked in the mirror, I saw someone fading, someone who looked fine, but felt like she was suffocating. Then I met her. Her name doesn't matter, but what she made me feel does. She made me feel like breathing, like I didn't have to edit myself to exist. And when she asked me, "Do your parents know?" I froze, because the truth was, I'd rather disappoint her than face what I was most afraid of, disappointing them. But fear gets heavy when you carry it too long. Eventually, I realized the cost of silence was higher than the cost of truth. So I decided, that Sunday night, at dinner, it would be the moment I told them. Dinner that night was just like every other Sunday, except for one thing. My heart wouldn't slow down. I remember the smell of garlic and soy sauce. My mom's favorite meal, stir-fried vegetables, rice, and grilled fish. Should have been comforting, but all I felt was dread pressing down on my chest. My dad asked about work. My mom told my brother to stop scrolling on his phone. Everything was normal, and that made it worse, because I knew in a few minutes everything wouldn't be. Halfway through the meal, my mom looked up and noticed I hadn't eaten much. "You okay, sweetheart?" she asked. That was my moment, my cue. I set down my fork and took a breath that didn't feel deep enough. "I need to tell you something," I said. The room went still. I could feel 3 pairs of eyes on me, waiting. And suddenly, every version of this moment I'd rehearsed in my head vanished. All the words I'd practiced, the careful sentences, the soft explanations, gone. So I just said it. "I'm gay." 2 words. So simple, so heavy. They hung in the air like smoke, visible, unignorable, impossible to take back. No one moved. No one spoke. I waited for something, anything, a question, a reaction, a rejection, but there was just silence. The sound of my heartbeat was louder than anything else in that room. And then my mom blinked. My dad's fork hit his plate. A small metallic sound that felt enormous. My brother just stared at me, eyes wide, like he was trying to figure out if it was a joke. And that was the longest silence of my life. When my mom finally spoke, her voice was small. "Thank you for telling us," she said. That was all. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just kept eating. My dad nodded slowly, still looking down at his plate. My brother cleared his throat but said nothing. Dinner continued. Like I hadn't just dropped the biggest truth of my life into the middle of the table. The clock ticked. The air conditioner hummed, and I sat there trying to keep my hands from shaking. I wanted to scream. I wanted someone to say something real. I wanted my mom to reach for me. My dad to tell me it was okay. My brother to make one of his dumb jokes. But they didn't. So I sat in the silence, that heavy, awful silence, until I couldn't anymore. I excused myself, went upstairs, closed the door, and finally let the tears come. I cried until my chest hurt, until I couldn't tell if I was crying because I felt rejected or because I felt free. Then, a knock. 3 soft taps. It was my dad. He opened the door just enough to peek inside. He was holding a small bowl of soup, still steaming. "You didn't eat much," he said quietly. "Your mom's worried." He placed it on my desk and didn't leave right away. He stood there searching for words. Finally, he said, "You know, when I was younger, one of my friends came out to me, and I didn't handle it well. I didn't know how to." He paused, eyes softening. "I regret that. I didn't want to say the wrong thing, so I said nothing. Just like tonight." I stared at him, speechless. He looked down at the floor, then back at me. "I don't ever want you to think silence means we don't love you. We just don't know how to talk about this yet." That was the moment everything shifted, because I realized the silence wasn't rejection. It was confusion. It was shock. It was fear. Not of me, but of saying the wrong thing. And that was enough. Not perfect, not comforting, but enough. Before that night, I thought love had to sound like words. But after that night, I learned that sometimes love whispers in other ways. The days after the dinner were strange. No one brought it up. Life continued. Same meals, same jokes, same small talk. But something had changed. It was in the way my mom started leaving little things outside my door. Cut fruit, folded laundry, a small note that said, "I love you, always." It was in the way my dad started making an effort to ask questions. Gentle ones, hesitant but real. And it was in the way my brother teased me one night, the way only siblings can, about a girl I'd been texting. It wasn't perfect acceptance. It was awkward, quiet, messy, but it was movement. And I realized something important. Coming out doesn't end with the words "I'm gay." It begins there. Because the coming out journey isn't a single moment of courage. It's a lifelong conversation. It's the space between silence and understanding. It's learning to let love evolve. That dinner, that awful, uncomfortable silence, was the first crack in a wall that had been standing between us for years. It didn't break in one night, but over time, it started to crumble, and eventually, love filled the space where fear used to be. If you're watching this right now, wondering when, or if, you should tell your truth, I want you to know this. There's no perfect way to come out. There's no perfect time. And there's no perfect reaction. Sometimes the people you love will go quiet. Sometimes they'll say the wrong thing. Sometimes they'll need time. More time than you hoped for. But that doesn't mean you were wrong to tell the truth. Because your truth isn't a problem that needs solving. It's a part of you that deserves to exist. Being queer doesn't make you less worthy of love. It doesn't make you a stranger to your family. It just makes you honest. And honesty, even when it's met with silence, plants the seed for something real. The night I came out, I thought silence meant the end of my family. But now I know it was just the sound of love learning how to listen. Today, when we sit at that same dinner table, it's not silent anymore. My mom laughs the loudest. My dad tells terrible jokes. My brother rolls his eyes at both of them, and beside me, sometimes, sits the woman I love. That's what growth looks like. It's not instant. It's not easy. But it's worth it. So if you're scared right now, if you're rehearsing the words in your head, wondering how the people you love will react, I want you to take a deep breath and remember this: silence isn't the end. It's just the beginning of a conversation that might take time, but will lead to truth. And you deserve a life built on truth. If this story spoke to you, if you've ever sat through your own silent dinner, waiting for the world to catch up to who you are, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Tell me what your first brave moment looked like, or the moment you realized your silence deserved to end. Because when we share our lesbian stories, we remind each other that courage doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes it looks like a quiet dinner, a trembling voice, and the courage to stay at the table anyway. And if you want to keep hearing stories like this, stories about love, identity, and the messy, beautiful parts of being queer, subscribe. This channel isn't just about storytelling. It's about community. It's about saying, you're not alone. Not now. Not ever. The night I came out, silence filled the room. But over time, that silence turned into laughter, understanding, and love. And I promise, if you keep choosing honesty, one day, your silence will turn into something beautiful too. Because love, even when it falters, always finds its way back to the truth.